Thank you for joining us for the Boise Valley Japanese American Citizens League's virtual Day of Remembrance. Due to the pandemic this year, we have asked Governor Little to record his proclamation for us rather than officiate the State House ceremony. This February 19th will be the 79th anniversary of the signing of Executive Order 9066 by President Roosevelt. The executive order authorized the U.S. Army to remove civilians from large swaths of the West Coast and relocate them, forcing well over 100,000 people to leave behind everything they had, except what they would fit in 2 suitcases. They were moved to one of 10 concentration camps scattered in the most remote regions of the country. Over 70,000 of those incarcerated were U.S. citizens whose constitutional rights were denied, including their Fifth Amendment right requiring due process. The Day of Remembrance is an opportunity for us as a nation to remember that civil liberties are fragile and that we must pass on our history to vigorously and continuously guard freedom and democracy. As our youth poet laureate, Amanda Gorman, said, "It's because being American is more than a pride we inherit. It's the past we step into and how we repair it." And now Governor Little reading this year's proclamation.
Whereas we are a nation of immigrants made up of diverse people, and whereas 79 years ago, President Roosevelt signed Executive Order 9066, and whereas during World War II, 120,000 civilians of Japanese descent, 2/3 of whom were American citizens, were imprisoned in incarceration camps, and whereas almost 10,000 of the total 120,000 civilians of Japanese descent were imprisoned in an incarceration camp called Minidoka or Hunt in Jerome County, Idaho. And whereas the former Minidoka site is now Minidoka National Historic Site. Whereas almost 1,000 Japanese American men from Minidoka incarceration camp fought in the United States Army. And whereas volunteers from the Minidoka were part of units known as the 442nd Regimental Combat Team and the 100th Infantry Battalion and the Military Intelligence Service during World War II. And whereas Minidoka had the highest enlistment rate and highest casualty rate of all 10 major incarceration camps in the United States. And whereas the 442nd Regimental Combat Team became the most highly decorated unit of its size and length of service in the history of the United States military. And whereas on October 5th, 2010, President Barack Obama signed Senate Bill 1055, which granted the Congressional Gold Medal, the nation's highest civilian award collectively, to the 442nd Regimental Combat Team, the 100th Battalion, and the Military Intelligence Service for their extraordinary accomplishments in World War II. And whereas Japanese Americans in our communities have continued to contribute to society and have distinguished themselves in all walks of life. Now, therefore, I, Brad Little, Governor of the State of Idaho. Now, therefore, I, Brad Little, Governor of the State of Idaho, do hereby proudly proclaim February 19, 2021 to be a day of remembrance in Idaho, to commemorate the anniversary of the internment and as a time to reflect on the need for tolerance, especially in times of national emergency and war. Signed, Brad Little, Governor of the State of Idaho.